Welcome to the campus of Eastern Illinois University in Charleston for the 1998 IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships. Hello everybody, I'm Jim Blaney along with four-time state champion Lisa Ferry, also the current athletic director at Kankakee High School. Let's get right to it, Lisa, and talk about Class A with the best individual story. Melissa McMillan of Arthur High School has qualified for the finals in 3 events, but yet didn't run last week because she was on her senior trip.
Jim, at this time of the season, it's not so important that the athletes practice. Rest is really a good thing. And I think that's very evident by Melissa's performance as she turns in the top times in the 200, the 400, and is participating in the 800-meter medley relay.
Lisa and I will be covering the running events today. That's only half the story. The field events also going on as well. And covering that for us is Mark Pinsky.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. I'll have all the field event coverage for you today, including the discus, the shot put, the long jump, triple jump, as well as the high jump. A lot of great talent on hand today, and some records could indeed be broken. Now, some key people to watch today include Dory DeBartolo, Jasmine Jackson, Bianca Rocket, and in Class A, Shelby Craig. So for now, let's hope the weather holds off. Should be a great meet. Let's go back up to you.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Now, as far as the team titles are concerned, sometimes it's hard to gauge who might be the teams to watch. We'll give you an idea by taking a look at the points scored by the various teams in the sectional meets from 1 week ago. Here are the top sectional teams brought to you by Country Companies Insurance. In Class A, Pana Co-op, 132 points in their sectional meet, followed by Eureka and Marion Central from Woodstock. In Class AA, Morgan Park, which has done very, very well in recent years here at the state meet, Thornton and Evanston Township. Now, Lisa, basically in Class AA, it's going to come down to those 3 schools we saw, plus East St. Louis, Lincoln, and everything will be determined in the sprints.
The big 3 have all their competitors in the sprints and in the relays, and today will tell if they will move on to be the state champions. Weather will be a factor, as in the sprints we hope the kids can get warmed up, and as yesterday, these kids deserve a lot of credit for participating in this weather. It was awful, the rain was horrible, and they deserve a lot of credit.
But it should be pretty decent today as far as rain is concerned, but the wind is blowing, the temperature down a little bit. Not exactly ideal conditions for everybody, but certainly fair conditions for all the competitors today. When we come back after this timeout, we will get underway in the 1998 Illinois Girls State High School Track Meet. Back in Charleston, Jim Blaney and Lisa Ferry for the 1998 IHSA Girls Track and Field Meet. Let's take a look at our weather conditions today. And again, really no advantage to anybody. It's not hot enough for a good day for the sprinters, and it's a little too cool for the distance runners to like it. The wind, it says 5 miles an hour on there, but it's gusting a little bit more than that. We are ready for our first event. This is the Class A 800-meter medley relay. And to look at the field, in the top qualifying time of the event, Arthur Co-op, 152.86 yesterday to qualify for this final. Next to them in lane 2 will be Newton. They had the second best time of 153.65, and the hardest thing about this race is traffic.
I agree, Jim. It's important to know in this race that the #1 seed team is in the first lane, and they do that because they want to avoid teams having to cut in and cut people off, because traffic does become a problem when they get to cut in.
And so the thing that you get an advantage by being in lane 1 is, at least for the first lap or so, everybody is in front of you, and you can kind of see and avoid the traffic a little bit. So that is the advantage to having the best time in the prelims and being in lane 1, as Arthur does in this race. Now, we talked about Melissa McMillan in the open, the senior from Arthur, who spent last week on her senior trip. She will run, or I should say is slated to run, the anchor leg in this event. And she's lined up in lane 1 at the moment, standing behind the leadoff runner for Arthur Co-op, and that would be Laura Hafer, a sophomore. You will see a lot of underclassmen in these A races, and you even see some of the underclassmen running the anchors.
And it will probably come down to the best quarter miler will win this race.
Remember, it's NCAA rules. 1 false start and you are out, and that's something to keep an eye on, the relays especially. You can take a whole team out by making a mistake as the starter. And the leadoff runner running 100 meters. So what you want to do is just try and eat up a little bit of the curve if you can, if you're in lanes 1 and 2, but certainly the key thing here is to make a clean exchange. And in lane 8, Pana Co-op is off to a great start. No one has made up the stagger on their number 2 runner, Tiffany Sims. And we'll finish up the race now with 2 segments of 200 meters. And once they come off this first turn, we'll get a little better idea of who's in front, although right now it looks like Bureau Valley out in front, the first of the runners to eat up the stagger on Pana Co-op in lane 9. Bureau Valley will make the first exchange. And this will be a leg of 200 meters, and all the runners now can cut to the pole. And the next exchange in the race is the one that becomes critical. And that is Melissa McMillan out in front of the pack right now.
As you can see, she's running very strong.
The thing you want to watch for is, in all these runners, especially when you get over 400 meters, is their hand position and their arms still pumping high, their knees coming up, especially as they come off the last turn. And it certainly doesn't look like Melissa McMillan was affected whatsoever by the layoff last week as she made the trip. She has about 75 meters to go.
The race is for second, though. Here we come.
But at least for first, this first event is going to go to Arthur High School. And Melissa McMillan runs the anchor leg, and she's off to a very good start in the Class A track meet, finishing first and bringing her team home in the 800-meter relay. We're going to take a look at the last leg of Melissa McMillan, and let's talk about it a little more, Lisa. I know we touched on the open. Is the last couple weeks of the season, runners really shouldn't be doing a lot of heavy work. Basically get loose and do a little bit of running. And you don't need to do that much heavy training in order to get into top shape for the meet, and that's what it looks like has happened to Melissa McMillan at least the last 2 weeks.
You see she finished very strong. She's very fresh, and that could be due to that she had some rest.
Winning easily, bringing it home by about 10 meters or so. And we'll be seeing a lot of Melissa McMillan. Unofficial time, 1:50 and 9/100ths, and if that is close to being the time, that's the best time we've seen here this weekend.
That equals their sectional qualifying time and betters yesterday's performance.
Time now for the AA 800-meter medley relay, and we should see some people flying in this one. The top time in the prelims went to HF at 1:47.43, but they had a lot of company as Glenbard South also under 1:48, Prospect was under 1:48, and then the first to look at some of the teams that will be competing for the Class AA title. Evanston Township will line up in lane 4, Morgan Park will be in lane 6. And even though in the case of Morgan Park that they're not over on the far edge of the track, which indicates they had one of the better prelim times, the key thing for Morgan Park here, pick up as many points as you can, because East St. Louis Lincoln is not in this race and Evanston is. So they have to keep an eye on Evanston, especially make sure they stay close, if not beat the Evanston relay team in this race. One thing to keep in mind in this race is the fact that Glenbard South and Prospect were in the same prelim heat. And we're within about a quarter second of each other. They're next to each other on the track, with Glenbard South in lane 2 and Prospect in lane 3.
Again, Homewood Flossmoor has the best sectional or the best semifinal time here.
Everybody out cleanly, and the advantage here for Karina Singleton of HF running the lead leg. She gets a look at everybody, but check out what is going on in lane 2.
It's Glenbard South. Really picked up the stagger.
As Cindy Marasegan picking up her stagger very, very quickly and is running dead even with her compatriot from Prospect, Carrie Fleming. The exchange now on the backside.
Watch out, though, when HF gets the baton for the 400. Adia McKinnon is one of the top in the state.
And 3 runners running side by side in lanes 3, 4, and 5. Prospect, Evanston, and Oak Park River Forest, and Morgan Park in there as well. Evanston will make the exchange first. Karen Phillips running the anchor leg for Evanston. And she has built up about a 3-meter lead, but it looks like it's closing rather fast.
Keep an eye on Adia McKinnon. Here she comes. HF is making her move.
And Ebony Hawthorne is running the anchor leg for Morgan Park. She's flying up the back stretch, but seems to have lost a little bit. And Adia McKinnon has now taken the lead for HF as they come around the final turn. Another example of how important your anchor person is. And now Adia McKinnon looks like she's struggling a little bit because she's going to get a challenge down to the wire. And running the anchor leg for Glenbard South is Tiffany Jones. The question is, can Jones catch McKinnon? And it suddenly looks like Jones isn't going to. It's going to be HF followed by Glenbard South, and just at the tape Prospect is going to come in third. A textbook job of running the anchor leg by Adia McKinnon. She came out, got the lead early. She faced a couple of challenges coming around the final turn, but was able to hold everybody off. And HF takes the first of the running events here in the Class AA meet. We'll pick it up with Adia McKinnon making her way into the final turn.
Adia is a very strong runner, Jim. I have had the opportunity to watch her several times. She did come out of the Kankakee sectional, which I hosted. She is incredible. She's only a sophomore, and she just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
And a smart bit of running, too, by Adia McKinnon, because she made sure she got out in front before they went into the curve. You don't want to be running in lane 2 or 3 on the final lap of a relay race.
Very smart.
Out on that part of the track. You want to get into the rail and be in very quickly. She faced a challenge right toward the end, but the Homewood Flossmoor Vikings take the first event, the running event, in the girls' Class AA meet. Next event coming up, the Class A 3,200-meter relay. Monmouth with the top qualifying time of 9:56.32, but there were 2 other teams that came in sub-10 in this event in qualifying. 3 other teams, I should say. St. Teresa out of Decatur, Byron, and Aurora Central Catholic. Now the setup for the start on this event, the 3,200-meter relay, you see 3 runners in each lane, so to speak. The qualifier with the best time, and that was Monmouth High School. They are on the inside of lane 1 in the red. And running the leadoff anchor for them is Caroline Riley, a senior. And this is the hardest part of this race, is not going out too quick. There's a long way to go in this thing. And it's just a good time just to be calm and get yourself in position and not hurt the rest of your teammates as you hand off the baton.
Well, it takes very dynamic 800 runners to do this event. You cannot hide anybody in this relay. So it comes down to the coach's strategy as far as choosing if the stronger runner is going to run the first leg or the last leg.
And the other thing is, too, is especially in the case of the smaller schools, if you have a good relay at this level in size of school, you've got 4 pretty good people, because it is hard to find 4 people to fill up this relay.
That's exactly right. The 800 is a tough event in itself, and then when you put 4 of them together, it becomes a very difficult race.
Well, the most misnamed of all the events in track is the 800-meter run. It's a dash, no matter what anybody tries to tell you.
It's certainly becoming that.
And the strategy here for most of the teams is let somebody else take the lead. Don't get out too quickly. Let somebody go and set the pace for the race, and just see how it develops from there. Let's check in with Mark Petrain, who is covering the field events.
The Class A shot put went pretty much according to plan. 3 girls had throws of 40 feet or better. That includes Laurel Eggers, a junior from Midwest Central. Eggers finished 3rd. Second place went to sophomore Jody Rendon of Stockton. And the winner of the Class A shot put was Jody Ottersberg, a senior from Gillespie. Her mark of 42 feet was more than 2 feet better than her preliminary throw. So for the 4th straight year, Ottersberg finishes in the top 3. She'll play basketball in Australia, then go to college at St. Louis. For now, she's a hometown hero in Gillespie.
Our town's really small, and it's kind of nice to have someone that can accomplish something like that. Like last year we had a girl get 1st in state. We've got some great athletes in our town. So pretty much our athletic ability, that's pretty much, our town is really proud of it, I think.
So Jody Ottersberg wins the Class A shot put, Rendon 2nd, and Eggers 3rd. In the AA shot put, the favorite Julie Sorrentino from McChesney Park, Harlem, actually wound up in 6th place. Despite her performance, the defending champion still had a smile on her face.
Yeah, I'm excited about going to Marquette next year. I got a lot of plans for the future, and I don't know, I'm excited.
Go Golden Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. Go MU! Woo! Woo! Woo!
Third place in the shot put went to Shani Brown, a junior from Chicago Mather. Chola Kaderi, a senior from Evanston, takes second. And Adrian Leszewski, a Morris sophomore, wins the gold with a throw of 44 feet, 9 3/4 of an inch.
You must have worked pretty hard to get this goal.
Yeah, putting on a lot of extra work. I went to camp this summer, and it helped a lot. So it totally paid off, and I'm just really excited.
Baseball camp?
No, track camp. Oh.
I'm funny.
Yeah.
So it's Leszewski in first, Kaderi second, and Brown third. Let's go back to Jim and Lisa.
Thanks, Mark. 1 lap to go here in the Class A 3,200-meter relay, and Julia Roundtree of Decatur St. Teresa is running an absolutely beautiful anchor leg. Got the baton at the start of her leg and just took off and immediately put on about 20 meters onto her lead.
She looks very strong as she's coming into the last lap here.
And that's Pittsfield and Byron running second and third right now. But as long as Julia Roundtree can keep her head up and her arms pumping, she should have this thing in the clubhouse very soon.
Looks like we may have a race developing, though, for second place.
Jenny Kramer of Byron right now in second place. And running in third for Pittsfield is Brooke Cattleman. But right now the story, Decatur St. Teresa. And bringing the baton home for them, Julia Roundtree, as she has about 120 meters to go. One thing you look for in distance runners, and Julia Roundtree has it, is she came out and just took off and has the feet just kind of clipped down the track. It doesn't look like there's any effort going on, has the beautiful long stride, and she's going to carry her team to victory by a large margin with a great anchor leg, but a battle developing for second. Byron and Pittsfield coming in next, and it looks like Jenny Kramer is going to carry the baton across second for Byron. Pittsfield is going to finish third, so it goes Decatur St. Teresa, Byron, and Pittsfield in the 3,200-meter relay, and just a wonderful anchor leg by Julia Roundtree. 9:40.44. That's unbelievable considering they took off 16 seconds from their time yesterday in the prelims. That's spectacular.
Well, they ran in a lot better weather today than yesterday. Yesterday, about this time, we had driving rain, and the girls couldn't even see the track. So the conditions today certainly contributed to that much better time.
Now, this is back on the second leg with about 250 meters to go on the second leg, and Jennifer Smith of St. Teresa, she was running on the shoulder of Kate Lageman of Pittsfield for most of her leg, and then the backstretch decided, okay, it's time for me to take the race. But good strategy by Jennifer Smith. She was very, very patient. She didn't take the lead right away, even though she could have. She was very patient, but she made darn sure that when she came across, she gave Julia Roundtree a decent lead to work with. It is time now for the 3,200-meter relay for the Class AA schools, and something you see a lot in boys track is if it's a distance relay, York is usually there. Well, they're here in the #1 spot for the girls' 3,200-meter relay as well. They qualified with a time of 9:20.03. That was more than 8 seconds better than the second best qualifying time turned in by Wheaton Warrenville South.
It's also 8 seconds better than their sectional qualifying time. So even, well, the AA's ran in better weather yesterday afternoon as the rain had stopped when they started on the track.
And Wheaton North also might be a factor in this race. They qualified with a time of 9:30.47, so it certainly has a western suburban Chicago flavor here as far as the top teams in the girls' 3,200-meter relay and Class AA are concerned. And everybody's set to go all the way over to the right of your screen on the inside. That is Laura Fitzgerald of York. She will run the first leg. And you see Fitzgerald get off to the start, stay out of traffic, and then, of course, everybody will start to cut into the pole once you see them pass the cones. And a great job by Fitzgerald of making it up on everybody and not getting caught up in traffic. That was a beautiful job of running that first curve. right now, York running in second place. 35 seconds and some change for the first 200 meters. That's moving.
Southeast High School in Springfield.
And now all the runners beginning to settle in and pick out their spots as they start to make their way down the front straightaway. Nothing settled so far here in the first couple of laps. It's Naperville North over there on the left, moving into the pole. And running for Naperville North on the first leg is Amy Slider. Let's check in with Mark Pinsky over at the field events.
A crosswind definitely played a factor in the Class A discus throw. But Lonnie Gakey, a junior from Dakota, wasted no time getting off to a fast start. Her first throw measured 131 feet, and it stood up in the end.
I just went in there and said, man, I have to throw my best. I mean, this is what I came here to do. You know, people were expecting a lot out of me, so I just had to show them what I could do. So I did.
Jenny Schloes from Pana captures second, and Kim Hartman, a junior from Springfield Lutheran, takes third. Your official results look like this: Gakey, Schloes, and Hartman 1, 2, 3. In the AA discus, defending champion Dore DeBarlo was a question coming in because of knee surgery in January. But the Notre Dame-bound junior from Aurora Rosary was still able to defend her title. You may wonder, how did Dore get so good in the discus?
I had a little bit of natural ability when I first started out, and then I just learned the spin, and I just kept working at it, kept working hard. Dedication is really important in this sport, so I don't know, just stick to it, and that's what happens, I guess.
Adrian Leszewski, who won the shot put, takes second in the discus. She winds up less than 3 feet shy of DeBartolo. And Tracy Moss, a Manuka junior, takes third. Again, the top three, DeBartolo, Leszewski, and Moss. Once again, we go back to Jim Blaney.
Final lap of the girls' Class AA 3,200 meter relay. That's Ann Makalinsky of York, well out in front in first place. Trying to run her down is Wheaton-Warrenville South's Jenna Garrow. But it's not looking like it's going to happen, and we have the added intrigue here of a possible run at a record time here by the York relay team. 9:14.47 is the record for Class AA. And Makalinsky is coming up on 200 meters left. And she's going to have about 30 seconds to run this last 200 meters. York out in front, Wheaton-Warrenville South running second, Stevenson running third. And Ann Makalinsky of York is coming around the final turn. The clock has just hit 9 minutes flat right now. 9:14.47 is the Class AA record. Makalinsky is going to get close. 12, 13, unofficially 9:13.849 for the York relay team. Jenna Garrow will come across second for Wheaton-Warrenville South. And Stevenson's anchor running coming across the line is Jennifer Martinez, just holding on and picking up third place, but a possible state record performance by the York girls in this event. Of course, the times on the scoreboard are unofficial. They're all kept electronically. We'll get word later on if that is a state record. But what a fantastic job by the York girls in running this race. No one let up at any part during this relay. Now you're going to see Makalinsky. She lets gravity take her out into lane 2. Nothing wrong with that.
Look at the determination, Jim, on her, though, as she comes through. She must know that she's close to a record. She sure is pushing hard with the gap that she has between second place. She's obviously going for a better time.
And if you're the anchor runner, sometimes you have extra incentive. One time I was running the anchor leg on a distance relay, and one of the people who ran an earlier leg said, if we don't get a medal, I'm going to kill you, as I ran down the last straight. So you have a lot of incentive for your teammates. They are the champions for the Class AA 3,200 meter relay. When we come back after this timeout, we'll have the first of the individual running events. We'll take a look at the 400 meter relay and then the 3,200 meter run. The broadcast rights for the Illinois High School Girls Track Championships have been granted to Fox Sports Chicago by the Illinois High School Association. Any reproduction or rebroadcast of this event without the expressed written consent of Fox Sports Chicago and the IHSA is prohibited. One more relay to go, and then the individual events start on the track. This is the Class A 400-meter relay. Marion Central in lane 1, Winchester in 2, and then in the middle of the track you have Wilmington, Providence St. Mel, and Shelbyville. Those three schools had the top times in the prelims, all going below 51 seconds.
We need Morgan Park 400 relay. Report immediately.
And this is where not only do you have to have the speed, but your exchanges have to be perfect as well.
The key, Jim, is to receive the baton at full speed. You don't want to have to stop or alter your steps in any way, so you want to get the baton at full speed. The handoffs are definitely crucial in this short race. Wilmington actually is in the pack for the team title as well, so we need to keep an eye on them as the day progresses.
And again, keep in mind, it's NCAA rules on starting. One false start and that's it. Most track meets run throughout the course of the season. You get one false start and you can stay in the race, but not here. You have to be patient, but you also do have to anticipate the gun just a hair to get off to a good start.
And the start is crucial since they're only running a 100-meter for the first leg and all legs. They definitely have to get out of the blocks fast.
To the left of your screen in lane 7, that's the Beardstown relay team. Running the first leg is Brianne Sower, a senior. And in lane 9, I should say, is Villa Grove.
We have to remember here that we should watch the middle of the track. The top 2 times are in lanes 4 and 5, so watch the middle of the track.
And this is the hardest part for sprinters because the muscles are so tightly wound anyway. If you get any kind of a delay getting into the blocks, you see a lot of fidgeting going on.
Yes, you do.
The distance runners don't care. The sprinters, they don't like standing on the track very long.
Lane 5, Chicago Providence St. Mel has turned in the fastest semifinal time yesterday.
Everybody off in good shape. Remember, in the sprint events, the middle lanes of the track are where the best qualifying times are. And right now, in lane 5 for Providence St. Mel, just absolutely chewing up the stagger is Crystal Blanton. Blanton handed off to Nyasha Scott, another senior. And she's nearly caught up to everybody to her right. Running the third leg for Providence St. Mel is Candace Smith. And then Nina Phillips is awaiting to take the anchor leg.
This should be one of those photo finishes.
And Nina Phillips will get the baton first out of anybody. She's in the middle of the track and has the lead, but never in lane 4 for Wilmington. Darcy Barr just came flying past her, and Darcy Barr of Wilmington will cross the finish line first. Providence St. Mel will finish second, and Shelbyville comes in third.
That's a great effort by Darcy Barr, a senior from Wilmington.
49.59, the unofficial time. And interesting that Providence St. Mel, their anchor runner was up a little bit farther than everybody else, but Nina Phillips just couldn't hold the lead because Darcy Barr just came absolutely flying down the track.
Also joining Darcy on that relay is her twin sister, Dorothy.
Well, the twins helped do the job for Wilmington as they pick up a gold medal in the Class A 400-meter relay. And of course, if we just had the Class A 400-meter relay, now it's time for the Double A 400-meter relay. And one of the first battles we're going to see between some of the things planning on big things today. Thornton in lane 1. Oak Park River Forest in 2. Morgan Park has designs on winning a state championship as a team. They're in lane 3. Crete Monee in 4. Proviso West running in 5. East St. Louis Lincoln also planning on a big day today. And HF running in lane 8. Remember, they've already won a running event earlier today, so if they could surprise here, they would be off to a great start as far as the team standings are concerned. Proviso West with the top qualifying time, 47.73. Aaliyah Hoyle will run the first leg for Proviso West.
Don't forget about Crete in this race. I think they may be a sleeper in the team title race as well. They've got quite a few qualifiers today, and they've got a couple very good athletes.
Well, and the thing is, you look at the qualifying times in this race, you had so many teams close together that this may be one of the more competitive events we see today.
And Crete, I believe, has Juanica Vance anchoring their relay, and she is one of the top sprinters in the state.
Yet another clean start. That's about as little as you're ever going to see anybody make up a stagger out of the start. Everybody running pretty equally for leg number 1. The first handoff in the back stretch. And now we see a little bit of separation. In lane 6, East St. Louis Lincoln starting to make up some ground.
East St. Louis Lincoln got the baton first.
And East St. Louis Lincoln running first right now.
Look out for Crete on this last leg.
Running the anchor leg for East St. Louis Lincoln will be Sharita Butler. But it's going to be Proviso West, Jasmine Jackson running away from everybody and coming across the finish line first. Proviso West in lane 4. Make that Proviso West in lane 5. Crete Monee, as Lisa pointed out, in lane 4 coming in second.
And Monique brought him from 4th to 2nd. She made up quite a bit of distance.
And so many times in this event, it just comes down to how clean you can make the last exchange and how quickly your anchor person can get out once they get the baton.
Proviso had quite a lead, but it looks like Juanica Vance, as she gets the baton, she really makes up some distance. If she would have got the baton in a little better shape, she would have won the race.
And the thing is, if you have a good anchor person, and if the person running the third leg can just get even a little bit of a lead before they hand off, a good anchor person is going to hang on to that advantage, and that's what happened in the case of Proviso West in the Class AA 400-meter relay. Next up, the 3,200-meter run for Class A. And there were not qualifying events run in this event yesterday. These are all the people who qualified through their sectionals. So you have a wide range of people getting ready to run in this one. In the second heat, Heidi Knapp of Eureka will start on the inside, meaning she had the best time of all the qualifiers as we get ready for the 3,200-meter run.
Coming up the 3,200-meter run.
Valerie Marquis of Dunlap had the second top qualifying time, then Stephanie Mullen of Girard. That's why she's in spot 3-1. She had the third best time. And Lee Vickery of Petersburg will start in the top starting spot of the fourth group of starters.
9 1/4.
It would seem, based on the qualifying times for this event, that it is Heidi Knapp's race. Her qualifying time, 11:48.9, 15 seconds better than the next qualifying time, turned in by Valerie Marquis of Dunlap. And they're going to let everybody relax for a second. There may be either a problem with the alignment or somebody doing something untoward. But anyway, the starter is ready, so we are ready to start the race. Heidi Knapp will be on the inside of lane 1, white top, green shorts. She's all the way to the right of your screen. And her main object here in this first turn is get to the pole quickly so that she doesn't encounter any traffic as all the other runners cut in toward the inside lane. And she has already more than made up the stagger. She'll go down the back straightaway for the first time with a fairly sizable lead for this early in an 8-lap race. Some runners like to run out front in distance races, most don't. But it would seem that Heidi Knapp should have control of this race throughout. The AA record for this event, by the way, 10:22.5. That's the AA mark in this event. The Class A mark in this event, 10:13, which is absolutely flying. So it would seem that Heidi Knapp would just want to set into a comfortable pace and see who goes and puts up a challenge. And Knapp has moved out in the lead right away, and that's Valerie Marquis to the left of your screen in the maroon and gold running in second place. And many distance runners who run in second place will run out on that shoulder because the person on the inside of the track, they know you're there, but they can't see you. We are one lap into the Class AA 3,200 meter run. Let's go back to the field events. Here's Mark Pinsky.
Mandy Gasick, the favorite in the Class A girls triple jump, did not disappoint. Gasick won this event with a jump of 35 feet, 6 3/4 of an inch. She broke the Sandwich School record, and she also made Sandwich High School history.
Another issue that has come up that I'm the first state champion female in the history of Sandwich High School. So that's like another accomplishment that I've achieved. So I'm really excited about that too. It's really something else.
You go, girl.
I know, that's how I feel. I know, it's exactly what my coaches want to say, you know, but they don't want to be like too teenager-ish, I guess. I don't know.
Like me, immature.
Yeah, but they've helped me out a lot, my coaches.
Adrian Yume, a freshman, takes second. Valerie Hackey takes third. In the AA triple jump, a competitive field made this a premier event. Janelle Johnson, a senior from Champaign Central, took third place. Crystal Riley from Morgan Park in Chicago beats Johnson by less than 3 inches to take the silver. And Kankakee's Bianca Rocket defended her title with a personal best jump of 41 feet, half an inch.
Talk about coming back. Was there added pressure, Bianca, because you were the defending champ, or what?
Well, not a whole lot of pressure. I just wanted to break the record, but I didn't get that, but I PR, and that was my goal to PR, so satisfied, happy.
So it's Rocket first, Riley second, and Johnson third. Now let's go back to the track. JB and Lisa.
1 lap left to go in the Class A 3,200 meter run. Heidi Knapp, as expected from Eureka, well out in front of the field, running second right now. Lindsay Newland from Georgetown Ridge Farm, and third is Stephanie Bone of Herscher, and she's a sophomore, so running third right now. That'd be nice if she could pick up a third place in the state championship and come back and have 2 more years to climb the ladder to the last 2 spots. But the story is Heidi Knapp of Eureka.
Heidi is the defending state champion. She did win this event last year as a sophomore.
Right, so she's going to be back for 1 more as well.
So she has a chance to be a 3-time state champion if all works out today.
Something of which you know something about.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I would like to have made one state championship track meet, let alone win anything.
It's a lot of fun. Brings back a lot of memories being here.
Well, and that's the thing is, it really is great to watch this event. Just the people who get to participate. Granted, it's nice to be a champion if you can pick up a victory, as Heidi Knapp is going to do here, but for most of these people, it's just the fact that you get to say you were here and you participated, and that's something you can take with you the rest of your life. And Heidi Knapp turning on the jets as she comes down the final straightaway. She's going to win this race going away. She came in as the favorite. She will go out as the champion, and not only as the champion, but a pretty decent time too, 11:16 for Heidi Knapp. Now, coming down the track in second place is Lindsay Newland, and coming in third will be Stephanie Mullen of Girard. So a fine performance for Heidi Knapp of Eureka. The town noteworthy as the place where Ronald Reagan went to college here in the state of Illinois. And she will go home as a state champion, so I guess she's probably the second most famous person out of Eureka, at least for today. Congratulations to Heidi Knapp. This was 3 laps into the race. Heidi Knapp, of course, the favorite. And the second best preliminary time coming in was by Valerie Marquis of Dunlap. And Valerie Marquis, what she did is went out and she pressed the pace of the race early. And granted, she had a prelim time that was 15 seconds to the high side of Heidi Knapp. So obviously the strategy by Valerie Marquis in the start of the race was to press the pace and see if she could make Heidi Knapp chase her down. And quite honestly, Heidi Knapp did that quite easily. But I think a good strategy going into the race by Valerie Marquis is to see if she could make the defending state champ work for it, and she did. But for the second year in a row, Heidi Knapp is going home with the championship in the girls' 3,200-meter run. Now we're getting set for the AA 3,200-meter run, and just like the previous race that you just saw, we have somebody who's a prohibitive favorite. That's Ann Gaffigan of Sacred Heart Griffin High School. Her qualifying time in this race, 21 seconds better than that of Rebecca Mitchell of Geneva. She's a sophomore. Gaffigan's a sophomore as well, we should point out, as is the runner who has the third best qualifying time. That is Lana McNider of Schaumburg High School. So a lot of young runners in this thing that we may be seeing for a long time. The top senior qualifying time in this event belonged to Jenny Arnold of Libertyville High School. The runners are on the track. We're just about set to go for the Class AA 3,200-meter run. Youth will be served most likely in this race. A lot of sophomores who can really run in this thing. And in that group there is Jenny Arnold of Libertyville. She's all the way in the Lady Cats uniform. The only senior with one of the top 4 times from Schaumburg. You got to look at Lana McNider and Rebecca Mitchell of Geneva. And then the big favorite in this race, sophomore Ann Gaffigan from Sacred Heart Griffin. She's got attitude, I can tell you that. She's got the baggy uniform going. You don't see that much in girls track anymore. More concerned about how she runs than with the fashion statement. Usually people like that are supremely confident. She will be awfully tough to beat in this race, but there's a lot of people in it with very good times that may take a chance on running her down. Strategy will be interesting in this race for that reason.
As Jim said, this is a field of young athletes, many sophomores in this race, very few upperclassmen.
And Gaffigan got cut off right at the start of the race by Victoria Jackson of Lake Forest High School. So Victoria Jackson helping out everybody else in the field, and right now Ann Gaffigan trapped in a little bit of traffic coming there off the first turn. But there's a long way to go in this race, and a lot of things can happen. So you just want to make sure you don't get hung up too early. Certainly the one thing you don't want is to go down, which does occasionally happen, but everybody running pretty cleanly right here. And Gaffigan has fought her way through the traffic, and right now she's running 4th. 8 laps, 400 meters apiece, 8 times 4, 3,200. Yeah, so everything's good.
Ann's sectional qualifying time was 10:51.2. Let's see if she can better that, as well as the rest of the field bettering their times today.
And the other MO of the people in front of the pack is maybe make Gaffigan run them down a little bit, expend some energy early in the race. And right now, Rebecca Mitchell of Geneva leading the race and running second right now. From Woodstock is Katie Hartman.
Katie's also a sophomore from Woodstock.
And Gaffigan has moved up to 3rd, but continuing to lead the race is Geneva's Rebecca Mitchell. Let's go back to Mark Pinsky with some more on the field events. I believe Mark was at the long jump this time. Mark?
The favorites in the Class A long jump all fared extremely well. Senior Christine Polo from Gillespie recorded the 3rd best jump. Shelby Craig from Winchester managed 2nd place. And Downs Tri-Valley senior Kristen Owens takes 1st, beating Craig by 2.5 inches.
It's like incredible. It was really funny because she was the last one to jump, and I was waiting on her, and I'm like, come on. And when I finally realized I won, it was kind of disbelief, but I'm very excited, and I was glad that I won.
So the top 3 in the long jump, Owens, Craig, and Polo. A premier field competed in the AA long jump. 8 girls leaped more than 18 feet, including Laura Evalda Paris, a junior from Woodstock. She takes 3rd. 2nd goes to Deanna Riley, a senior from Chicago Simeon. She marks at 18 feet 11 inches, just half an inch behind the winner. Jasmine Jackson, the junior from Proviso West, wins for the 2nd year in a row. Jackson, among the stars of this meet, had a great weekend.
I'm no different than anybody. I'm goofy just like everybody. I had my fun.
Goofy?
Yeah.
What do you mean you're goofy?
I'm goofy. Like last night, the lights went out. So when our teammates Lee Gorey, she was playing with us in the room. She had everybody scared. I'm thinking, is somebody talking in the next room? I could have swore I heard somebody knock on the door. So I'm all in the corner. Then I just got up and slept on the floor. It had to be about 1 o'clock in the morning before we even got to sleep. Lights went out at like 11. it was fun.
Jackson, Riley, and Velda Paris go 1, 2, 3. Once again, back to Jim and Lisa.
Thanks, Mark. The Class AA 3,200 meter run is now in its final lap. That is Ann Gaffigan of Sacred Heart Griffin, not only in front, but she may have a chance at a state, or at least a AA record, I should say. She leads by 100 meters. One of the larger leads you are ever going to see. She has an entire turn of the rest of the field. Melissa Straza of Urbana set the AA record at 10:22.5. And right now, Ann Gaffigan, with about 200 meters left, is going to have to run this last 200 meters in about 27 seconds. That's going to be mighty tough. So that's by the boards, but she was on pace there for a while to do so. But the key part of the information is that Ann Gaffigan is going to win this 3,200 meter run, and she's going to win it big. That's a lap runner that Gaffigan is about to pass. Ann Gaffigan took the lead early and just simply ran away from the field in this event. She will not get the AA record, but she will put in an incredible performance. Unofficially, her time, 10:30.43. As Ann Gaffigan comes up with first place. A fantastic effort. And coming in for second and third right now, Jenny Arnold of Libertyville is trying to hold off Katie Hartman from Woodstock. And Jenny Arnold will get second. Katie Hartman is going to come in third. But a marvelous performance by Ann Gaffigan from Sacred Heart Griffin. She looked strong the entire race, never let up one bit. And really, quite frankly, ended up making it look pretty easy. Ann Gaffigan of Sacred Heart, Griffin, Springfield, your winner of the 3,200 meter run. We're back with more from Eastern Illinois University as we take a look at some of the sprinters coming up after this timeout. Back in Charleston for the girls 1998 IHSA Track and Field Championships from O'Brien Stadium. We are now ready for the Class A 100 meter high hurdles. The lane to watch, obviously, lane number 5, Ashley McMillan of Macomb, a sophomore, the best qualifying time by 0.4 of a second. Amazing that a sophomore could have that great of a qualifying time. And the other amazing thing is, too, is she is the one standing, hunched over in the middle of the pack, not down in the blocks as the other runners are.
Starts are so crucial, and the standing start's unusual.
She uses a start that a lot of football players use when they're running a 40, where they get their arm back and they rock their arm forward and go. And apparently it's working for Ashley McMillan, because she's in the lead as she heads over the final of the hurdles, and she will win the 100 meter high hurdles. Coming in second in lane 2 is Jordana Meyer of Villa Grove High School, and it looked like third went to Michelle Owens of Wilmington in lane 3. But it was close for second place. It wasn't for first, as Ashley McMillan, the sophomore, claims a state championship. That's McMillan, middle of the screen with her arm up in the air, and obviously the start works for her, unconventional by sprinting standards, but she was behind for the first couple of hurdles and made it up very quickly.
You see, Jim, that she just establishes a pace and she just gets her rhythm and sticks right with it. Even from a standing start, she was out fast and she never trailed.
And again, you will see that many times. I see football players do that all the time because they use their arm to rock themselves forward. Hey, whatever works. You don't argue with success like that. And a fantastic time of 14.84 as she wins the 100 meter hurdles. Just an outstanding performance.
It's her best time this weekend and a good time to do it in the championship round.
And 2 more years to try and improve upon it. Here is the field for the Class AA 100 meter high hurdles, and again we get back to the battle for the overall championship with Crystal Riley, the best time in the prelims from Morgan Park. To the left of her will be Carolyn Estes of Thornton. Also in the race among those who have to try and help out their teams win a team title in lane 3 will be Satrina Pompey of Evanston, and in lane 8 Elvira Williams from East St. Louis Lincoln. Again, Jim Blaney with Lisa Ferry here at beautiful O'Brien Stadium in Charleston as we get ready for the 100-meter high hurdles for Class AA. Fox Sports Chicago is your place for the Bulls' drive toward a 6th world championship. After every game of the 1998 NBA playoffs, even the ones on NBC go live in the locker room for exclusive interviews and post-game analysis with our good friends Norm Van Leer and Chet Kopic. The playoffs play on Fox Sports Chicago.
And remember the lanes to watch, the middle of the track, lane 5 and lane 4. This is a crucial race for the team standings, so everybody wants to score.
In Morgan Park, the sprints are their specialties, so this is a big race for Crystal Riley, not only for her personally, but for her team as well. She got off to a great start. She was out of the blocks far before everybody else, and Riley right now in the middle of the track is leading, although Brooke Thomas from Freeport in lane 9 got off to a very good start as well, but this race is going to belong to Crystal Riley. She will finish first. Second place in lane 8 was Elvira Williams of East St. Louis Lincoln, and it appeared that third went to Jenny Klosterman from Highland.
And again,
14:62, the unofficial time. Lisa, this is just a great start.
and as you watch the race, Jim, you see that her biggest factor that she just snaps her foot right over the hurdle, right to the ground. She's not off of the ground, and that again is just a rhythm, and she just runs like there's no hurdles on the track. So she's an excellent hurdler, and great victory for her.
So much of sprinting, and the hurdle is essentially a sprint, is the start of the race. And Crystal Riley, her start was so explosive, and not explosive that she got out running, but her first move out as she jumped out of the blocks was just so, watch how quickly she gets her foot on the ground before anybody else. That's a marvelous start, and she's at full speed as soon as she got upright. That's
just great
beautiful.
Explosion, great explosion.
So Crystal Riley gets Morgan Park off to a great start, and coming up next, the Class A 100-meter dash. Erin Reel of Burlington Central, the best time in the prelims. She ran 12:85. There were 4 runners under 13 seconds in the prelims, all within 5/100ths of a second of each other, so this ought to be a fantastic final, maybe one of the closer races of the day. All sorts of great times in the prelims in the 100-meter dash. Kristen Owens, 12:93. Kashayla Lafayette, 12:98. 12:96 for Kim Roy, that tied the best time by Erin Reel. This one ought to be very, very close. Reel will be in lane 5. Roy will be in lane 3.
Owens is the defending champion, so she'll try to repeat here.
Let me reset. Reel will be in lane 5 and Owens is in lane 4. And Reel is in the blue, right in the middle of the screen. And coming out quickly to the first hurdle is Kristen Owens. Check that, there's no hurdles out there anyway. Owens is out there first, and she's going to be the one to beat. And Owens, boy, that got close to the finish. As it looked like Owens outleaned everybody to the finish. She certainly thinks she had it won. Kashayla Lafayette of Kankakee, Bishop McNamara, was also there toward the finish. That would have been interesting had there been another 10 meters, because everybody was starting to close in very quickly, but Kristen Owens used a burst out the first 20 meters or so to get out in front and never look back.
Jim, as you watch this, you see that Miss Owens just accelerates, though. She continues to accelerate. Although they are closing in on her, she accelerates all the way through the race. She may celebrate almost a little bit too early. But
that's what you would call a photo, wouldn't it be, for second
yes,
and
it was
third?
Very close.
Tiffany Bishop of Moments was in there. Kim Roy of Red Bud. Let's take a look at second, third, and fourth again. There's no doubt that Kristen Owens in lane 4 wins the race.
She does it with a very nice lean also. The celebration came later, so she did do her job, and she won the race.
Boy, look at it again. It looked like lane 3 Kim Roy, and Kashayla Lafayette may have just been tied head-to-head for second and third. 100-meter dash for AA. And in the middle of the track, and we saw her a little while ago in one of the relays, Juanica Vance, senior from Crete Moni. In the semifinals yesterday, her time 11.90. That was a tenth of a second better than the next best time posted by Consuelo Moore of South Shore. And then Jasmine Jackson of Proviso West with the next best qualifying time of 12.11. And again, battling for the team title. This is a big race for Morgan Park because they have 2 runners, Tiffany Kennedy in lane 2 and Takoya Thomas in lane 7.
And hopefully Kankakee can be a spoiler here. It's a personal favorite of mine since Kankakee is my school. And I hope Bianca gets in there for some team points to spoil the other ones. But this is going to be a close race.
Bianca Rocket from Kankakee will be in lane 8. Her qualifying time 12.3. And you see Leander Grant of Thornton in the 9th one on the outside. Great start coming out of lane 5 by Juanica Vance. She just jumped out ahead of everybody from the start of the race, and she's going to win this thing going away. Big battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It looks like Consuelo Moore of South Shore got across in 2nd place, but after that, just like in the Class A race, we are going to have a photo for as far as who got 3rd place. But Juanica Vance, again, and you see this so many times out of the great sprinters, they just get such a big advantage by bursting out from the start and then just take it down the track and don't let anybody catch you.
Well, if you watch Juanica's start, Jim, she has one of the best starts in the state. She stays low. She explodes. Her first 3 or 4 steps are in a very low position. She does continue to accelerate. She is just so strong. Look at her turnover. And she does finish the race. She runs all the way through. What a great race for Juanica.
Okay, so she will finish first, and
oh, quite a race for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, I would go 2nd to Consuelo Moore, and it looked like Jasmine Jackson in lane 6 of Proviso West likely got 3rd. But a very close race, a very good race, and an outstanding effort by Juanica Vance from Crete Moni to take the state title in the Class AA 100-meter dash. Now, it says at the top, 800-meter run. It's an 800-meter dash. Do not kid yourself. This, in my opinion, is the most difficult race out of all of them because it's a 2-lap sprint around the track. Beth Hyman from Central High School, another sophomore who had an outstanding prelim, will be on the inside with a qualifying time of 2:18.6. 2nd best qualifying time went to Alana Chrisman from Rushville. Allie Williams from Manteno, her qualifying time yesterday in the prelims, 2:22.78. And then Tammy Skirch with the 4th best qualifying time in the race. And she will have to come from the outside a little bit, but certainly another person to keep an eye on. 2 times around the track. Flat out is the hard part about this race. You have to run in this thing. It used to be a race of strategy. It still is somewhat, but the athletes have gotten so good at this race that it really has basically turned out into an all-out sprint for 2 laps.
Strategy has a lot to play with it too, Jim, is that the runners need to know when to make their moves and to remember not to pass on curves. It exerts more energy.
And Beth Hyman, the favorite in the race.
She's the defending state champion as a sophomore last year, won this event.
It's just amazing how many young runners there are, seniors and juniors, that we're going to be seeing here for years to come. But it's Hyman in first place right now as they make the turn and get ready to come down the home stretch for the first of 2 trips.
It's important to not get boxed in. That's another strategy. You don't want to get yourself in that situation.
And from Rushville, running in 2nd place right now is Alana Chrisman. And Chrisman making a push for the lead, but surprisingly a little bit, Hyman holding her off at that point of the race. Maybe feeling that that was Chrisman's big push, and if she could beat back the challenge right there, she may control the race the rest of the way, and right now has opened up about a 2-stride lead. But it's Chrisman and Hyman right now running well out in front of the pack.
She's peeking over her shoulder. She knows she's on her tail, so that's pushing her a little bit.
And Chrisman has stayed right there. Sometimes if you can drive off the challenge of a runner initially, that they'll drop back and you won't hear from them again. But Chrisman stayed right there. But right now, Hyman again opening up a little bit of a lead in the back stretch.
She's still looking very strong, but we should see a race develop here, maybe in the last 300.
And a little battle going on for third place right now. And the two runners battling for third are basically compacting the field and closing in on Chrisman and Hyman, although it's still Hyman still holding the lead. Hyman holding the lead. Chrisman about to get a challenge for second place from Tutopoulos out on the outside. That's Meredith Dieters. Beth Hyman is going to win this race. She will cross the line first. And coming in second place, Alana Chrisman of Rushville, so she was able to hang on and get second place, but just a spectacular race by Beth Hyman. Took the lead early, got to the pole before everybody else, held off a couple of challenges, and an unofficial time of 2:13.25. Let's take a look at the last half lap of the race, where Hyman just didn't allow anybody else to get into the race, which is one of the best things you can do is to winning. Just don't let anybody get the idea that maybe they can close in on you and take it away from you.
She looked strong and confident throughout the race. At no point did it look like she was going to falter the lead. So she just ran a really great, strong race.
And she won this race by basically running very quickly at the start and running away from the trouble, not getting tangled up, not getting boxed in, and really that allowed her to dictate the way the race was run. 800-meter run for Class AA coming up next. Katie Butler of Normal Community High School. The best time in the prelims, 2:14.21, but not by much. Her competitor from across town from Bloomington High School, Kristen Worth, ran 2:14.38. That's a difference of 17/100ths of a second. Now, you saw the name of Ann Makalinsky up there. Remember, she anchored the winning York relay team in the 3,200 meters just a little while ago. So she has already run a race today. She should be nice and warm. Other good prelim times, Kara Mullen, she was within a second of Butler. She's from Lake Forest High School, another sophomore.
Kristen Worth is the defending state champion. She won this event last year. She's just a junior this year, so she did win as a sophomore. Again, as Jim and I have talked earlier, there's a lot of young distance runners.
Well, in preliminary heat number 1 yesterday, Katie Butler, Kara Mullen, and Audrey Geisler, who had 3 of the top 4 qualifying times. Butler's a junior, Mullen's a sophomore, and Geisler is a sophomore as well. Now, it's Geisler, that's her in the purple, just to the left center of your screen. She really has about the toughest job of any of the top competitors in this race because she has to break all the way in from that inside of the lane. Now, the way they set it up is the top preliminary time goes inside of the first group, the second preliminary time goes inside of the second, and so on. But I'll tell you what, if I were one of the top runners, I'd want to be back on the inside. I'd rather be closer to the inside than out a little bit clear traffic. That's just personal preference. Getting to the pole, that is where the track straightens out of the backside. That's key in the 800-meter race. And the 4 top competitors are all doing a good job of getting out quickly.
Again, you just cannot get boxed in. There's a lot of traffic in this race, and so you have to know where you're going and know what you're doing.
And the leaders who all participated in the same prelim yesterday reunited again at the top of the field. And the pack behind the lead 2 runners staying in touch. This is a race where if you're going to win it many times, you have to lead it most of the way. You can't mess around too much with strategy and getting tied up. You've got to get out there and you've got to run. Kristen Worth of Bloomington, another junior, running first right now. First lap in about 1:04. Jenna Garrow, who we saw in one of the relays from Wheaton Warrenville South, she is running second right now and running a strong second and is doing her best to push Worth up the track. Worth holding off the challenge so far. and Katie Butler from Normal Community running third and making up ground in the 2 leaders. But it looks like right now that Kristen Worth is trying to separate from the field a little bit, and she is being successful.
She's running very strong right now and showing us some determination. Let's see what happens as she comes around this last curve and heads down the runway.
What she's doing right now is she's demoralizing the rest of the field, because the field was starting to bunch behind her, ready to make a challenge. She's trying to run away, but not quite able to do it as of yet. Kristen Worth trying to bring it home. Katie Butler trying her best to catch up. Ann McAlinsky of York has now moved into second place. Kristen Worth of Bloomington is going to hold off the field. She will finish first. Ann McAlinsky of York will finish second. And one of the better races we've seen in a distance event is Katie Butler ends up coming in third. Unofficial time just under 2:12. Kristen Worth, a fantastic race. And again, in the 800, her strategy was simple. Get to the pole first and just outrun everybody and make them try and chase you down. And at the very end, it was a battle for third place between Katie Butler from Normal Community and Ann McAlinsky from Elmhurst, who was part of a winning relay team earlier today. By this time, Worth has held everybody off. That's McAlinsky in the black coming around the outside of the turn and running down Katie Butler down the straightaway.
Kristen's running with confidence and determination. She led from the onset, and she knew this was her race to win, and she came out and did it.
When we come back after this timeout, we will have another 800-meter race. This time it will be the relay. Back in Charleston for the 1998 Girls State Championship track meet. Time now for the Class A 800-meter relay. Illinois Valley Central, the best time in the prelims, 1:48.64, but right there with them was Wilmington, just behind by 15/100ths of a second.
And I think Wilmington could challenge for a team title in the Class A as well, so we hope they finish very well in this race.
Illinois Valley Central, and on the theme of young runners here, a sophomore, a junior, a freshman, and a junior, the relay team here.
They'll be back.
4 legs of 200 meters apiece.
It's important to finish their 200 strong. You want to get that baton to the next runner as quickly as possible, but they have to finish the 200.
It's like right now in lane 7, Villa Grove doing a pretty good job of making up their stagger. See who gets the first handoff.
It's like Wilmington.
4 teams right there together on the first exchange. Now time to head down the straightaway. We'll get a little better idea of where people stand. And as you mentioned, lane 4, Wilmington. They've already made up the entire stagger on the lane next to them. They will get to their exchange. They'll get to their exchange almost first out of everybody. So Wilmington in very good shape now in their third leg. Michelle Owens, a senior, carrying the baton right now. We talked about the younger runners in the race. Well, Wilmington, a sophomore, and then 3 seniors to finish off. So out of all the relay teams in this race, Wilmington may have the most experience. Final leg coming up. Darcy Barr will run the anchor leg for Wilmington in lane 4. And Wilmington dropped their baton, and that's going to cost them the race. There's no way they'll be able to make this up. Lane 2, Providence St. Mel.
Here they come.
With the lead, that's Nyasha Scott, a senior, with the lead, and a big lead at that. Providence St. Mel will come home first in the 800-meter relay. Second place in lane 7, Villa Grove, and 2 runners together at the finish in lanes 5 and 6, Illinois Valley Central and Timothy Christian for 3rd place, but disaster for Wilmington in the backstretch as they failed to get a clean exchange, and that may have cost them the championship in this race. Let's take a look at the last exchange. There's the Wilmington exchange right in the middle of the screen, now to the right center, and they just never got it clean.
That's too bad, because that really is a crucial drop. They were right in the race, had a possibility of being the champions, and that will hurt in the team totals as well.
Sometimes what happens is the adrenaline of the person who has yet to run is running so high they go out a little bit too quickly, and the person coming in, yes, they have to run to the person that they exchanged the baton to, but don't forget also that you have to complete the exchange within a specific area, and you can't run out of that. So that person who is accepting the baton needs to make sure that they go at the proper pace in order to accept the baton in the right spot. Providence St. Mel celebrating a state championship in the Class A 800-meter relay. Time now for the AA 800-meter relay. Top qualifying time, East St. Louis Lincoln. Qualified 1:41.19. Second best qualifying time, Morgan Park. And Evanston in there as well. So the 3 schools that we talked about off of the top that will be battling for the Class AA title, Evanston, Morgan Park, and East St. Louis Lincoln, they are all in this race, and they are all running together in lanes 3, 4, and 5. How you make up your relay team is sometimes very interesting. You're looking at Tiffany Kennedy from Morgan Park. A freshman will run the leadoff leg. On the other hand, Evanston has a freshman running the anchor leg, Paris Stevens. And where this comes into play and where you have to be a little bit careful with a freshman sometimes is, again, it's NCAA rules. 1 false start and you are out. My track team, my senior year of high school, we had a very good 400-meter relay team. We had 3 seniors and a freshman. The freshman was running the first leg. He false started in the prelims of the conference meet, ending the career of all those seniors by that misstep.
And we did see it happen yesterday. We had a couple of disqualifications because of false starts, so it does happen, and these kids have to be very careful.
Because I don't care how experienced you are at running events, you get to the state meet.
As you said earlier, that adrenaline is pumping, and you have to be able to control all those different emotions. And you want to win the race, but you also have to do it the correct way.
Especially in an event like this, where every 10th of a second is so very, very important. And we saw in the Class A final how a poor exchange cost Wilmington dearly. So you have to have a very good start, and you have to have clean exchanges.
And you know, all of these runners are aware of the team totals too, so that puts a little added pressure on them, and they know that their team is counting on them. So this should be a crucial race.
Evanston in 3, Morgan Park in 4, East St. Louis Lincoln in 5. Everything is good after the start. And for East St. Louis Lincoln, Elvira Williams running the first leg, and she is absolutely flying up the track.
Proviso West looks strong as well.
Let's not forget about Proviso West. We've talked about the 3 teams that are battling for the overall title here today. But Proviso West with a very good relay team.
Proviso got the exchange first.
Proviso West running in lane 6. Running first up the track right now is Glenbard North. Remember, they're in lane 9, so they have the farthest stagger of anybody. Simeon running in lane 8.
East St. Louis is strong right now.
And East St. Louis Lincoln well out in front of the field. They're just past everybody. They could just destroy this field.
She is really building a lead right now.
Latricia Singleton, a senior. She will be handing off to Sharita Butler, a sophomore. Lane 2, Evanston coming up, and that's Proviso West out in lane 6.
Evanston's taking the lead.
Running the anchor leg for Evanston is freshman Paris Stevens.
freshman can hang on.
Paris Stevens of Evanston running hard, but Rakia Bailey of Morgan Park absolutely flying. She may be out of time, though. Evanston will go first. East St. Louis Lincoln second, and Proviso West will just hold off Morgan Park for third. A race that hinged on good exchanges and a great start, and it became from then just a matter of who could run the fastest. And the answer in this one, Evanston Township, their unofficial time, 1:39.69.
This last exchange for Evanston was crucial. This is where they got the baton first, and they took the lead, and they were not going to give it up. The freshman runs very strong and finishes the race in first.
And remember, sometimes the thought is your team is built, you want the fastest person going last. It's not necessarily the case. Many times your person who goes last is the person who is the worst at passing off the baton, because you want to make sure that they don't have to pass it off. We don't know if that's the case. The fact of the matter is this: Evanston wins the 800-meter relay, and their unofficial time is just within was a few ticks long of a Class AA record. But the Wildcats can certainly celebrate a job well done. Time now for the Class A 400-meter dash. Best preliminary time turned in by the young athlete we highlighted at the start, Melissa McMillan of Arthur. One of only 2 times in the prelims that was below 1 minute. She's a senior, and running next to her in lane 4 from Fisher is Erica Gaser, a sophomore, who ran 59.83 in the prelims yesterday. Should be an outstanding race, and there will be 3 of the main principals left to right. Left in lane 6, Kristen Owens, who we saw earlier in a relay. Melissa McMillan of Arthur, remember, missed practice all last week on a senior trip. And Erica Gesser, the sophomore of the Fisher Bunnies. Love that nickname. Start is good, and very quickly moving on in lane 8 is Shelby Craig of Winchester making an early move. And McMillan right now has already made up the gap between her and Kristen Owens on her right. And McMillan is about to reel in Jenny Julin in lane 7. McMillan running hard and appearing to run first right now, but she has Erica Gesser right with her to her left. And Gesser is starting to make up some room, as it looks a little bit like McMillan is tying up coming around the corner. Gesser and McMillan right together in the middle of the track, and Kristen Owens has made up some room and is there as well. Out in lane 8, Shelby Craig of Winchester trying to hang on, but it's Erica Gesser running first right now. Owens making one last pitch to try and win this race, and Owens is going to cross first. Gesser finishes second, and it looked like getting third place was lane 3, Corin Reich of Newton. There were about 3 different races there at 400 meters. We saw people run up and fall back constantly in that race, because when we were coming into the first turn, it looked like Kristen Owens was out of the thing. She kept running hard and ended up coming in first. 400 meters, not a great distance, but it's enough to apparently make up some room if you keep falling back, because it looked like Owens fell back a couple of times and still recovered.
Boy, though, this is where Melissa McMillan really hit the wall. Coming around this last curve, she just like a monkey jumped on her back, because she just stood straight up and she lost her lead, and the other girls came on strong.
And Erica Gesser in lane 4 was looking like everything was under control. She looked good. She didn't seem to be running out of gas. But I think it was one of those cases where Kristen Owens just wanted to get to the finish line before anybody else, and she did indeed get there first. The 400-meter dash in Class AA coming up next, as Kristen Owens will celebrate yet another medal. Adia McKinnon from Homewood Flossmoor, 55.68 in the prelims. She will be in lane 5. Tiffany Jones of Glenbard South. She qualified with a time of 56.70. And none of the combatants, at least as it looked going in for the overall team title, involved in this race. So for the most part, it's going to be a battle of individual pride in the 400-meter dash. That's Adia McKinnon, and when you're good, you can do things like that. I'm sure there's a reason. Usually, if it's shin splints, they're usually taped all the way up. But once again,
it's a new fashion statement. Now everybody across the state will be.
You've got that right, because she is a heavy favorite in this race. She'll face a challenge from Tiffany Jones of Glenbard South to the left in lane 4. Kawana Levy, a senior from Springfield Southeast, in lane 6.
Homewood's actually a sleeper too. They could possibly get into the scoring for a team title here. Adia's a very strong runner, and she's in several events.
A school known for good football over the years and a lot of good golf teams, but they have good representation here at the state track meet this year. McKinnon's time in the preliminaries yesterday, 55.68. And that was better than the rest of the field by nearly a second.
Adia's out strong. You'll watch them make up the staggers very quickly.
Well, she's already eaten up the stagger between herself and Kawana Levy. And now she's working on Megan Wattis from Prospect. And she's made that up as well. Tiffany Jones running right with her, though, at least for now, in lane 4. And as we head into the turn, it's setting up for McKinnon and Jones to battle down the straightaway. That's Jones in the red and blue, and that's Adia McKinnon in the red and white. Adia McKinnon leading as they head to the straightaway. McKinnon looks strong, and she's starting to add to her lead as she comes down the front straightaway. Adia McKinnon of Homewood Flossmoor is going to win the 400-meter dash. Jones will come in second, and then Allison Curtin of Taylorville comes in third. Unofficial time of 55.58. And Adia McKinnon with just a fantastic effort.
She always starts.
She got out quickly and made up a lot of room, and she had to have known Jones was going to challenge, because Jones had her eyes on McKinnon all the way around the track.
Well, Adia does get out very quickly and makes those staggers up. She did get challenged a little bit by Tiffany Jones. I think that pushed her a little bit harder. Adia's not had a lot of competition this season, but Adia's a strong runner, and she just finishes the race very strong and was very confident from the beginning that this was her race.
And once she got into the straightaway and really could sense Jones right on her shoulder, that was when she kicked it into the next gear and just pulled away down the stretch. And Jones ended up having to hold on for second place as Allison Curtin from Taylorville closed very, very quickly. But Adia McKinnon wins the 400-meter dash.
And again, it should be noted that Adia is just a sophomore.
300-meter low hurdles for Class A coming up next. Jordana Meyer of Villa Grove, a senior. Best time in the preliminaries, 4.5.87. Second in her heat, though, was Ashley McMillan of Macomb, who we saw a little bit earlier in the high hurdles. Macomb will be just off Meyer's left shoulder in lane number 4. And also consider Jill Hoops from Farmington had a time of 46.95. Ready for the 300-meter low hurdles. And this is where the prelim times can be a little bit deceiving sometimes. Jordana Meyer had the best prelim time. Ashley McMillan was second, but McMillan was in Meyer's heat. And McMillan has been very busy already today, winning the 100-meter hurdles. So it may have been a case where she decided, okay, I'm inside of the person I've got to chase down. Lane 4 might be the perfect spot. She's the only one not in the blocks in this race.
The important thing to do is establish a rhythm to these hurdles, and you don't want to chop or overextend as you run the hurdles. You want it to be smooth and fluid.
And McMillan already has a pretty decent lead as she's been the first person to go over the first 2 hurdles. McMillan is in lane 4 from Macomb High School. And now having moved out into a lead in lane number 6, Jill Hoops from Farmington. And in the middle of the track in lane 5 is Jordana Meyer of Villa Grove. Jordana Meyer is going to finish first. It's going to be a battle for second place. Hoops is going to finish second, and Ashley McMillan is going to finish third. Jordana Meyer got behind in the early going, but just kept going at it and ended up running down McMillan and finishing first. Unofficial time 44.44. Well, everybody was watching Jill Hoops from Farmington and keep an eye on Ashley McMillan. Jordana Meyer in lane 5, right in the middle of the track, just snuck up on everybody. And the fact of the matter is the first hurdle in the straightaway, she was cleaner than anybody else. That allowed her to catch up some room. You'll notice that all of a sudden you get to the end of this race and people have to start timing their steps and making sure they get over the hurdles. For Jordana Meyer, that was okay because she was out in front.
You see, she built up a lead, and it's a good thing because she did have some problems over the last couple of hurdles. She had some stutter steps, and she wasn't real smooth getting over those last 2 hurdles.
And has plenty of energy to spare as well. Time now for the 300-meter low hurdles for Class AA. Carrie Fleming, senior from Prospect High, 43.76 in the prelims. That was the top time. Carrie Fink of Hersey High School, she had 44.10. And of course, things riding on the team portion of the event as well, because Elvira Williams of East St. Louis Lincoln running in lane 2, Natasha Foreman of Evanston running in lane 6. And I wonder if anybody else besides me has noticed that, boy, it got dark all of a sudden here. Had rain, a little bit of rain here this morning. The track is finally just about dried out, but it's starting to get a little imposing looking just to the west of us again.
Keep an eye on Dawn Harden from Crete-Monee in lane 3, too. I think she might get into the mix of things.
Set. Please start.
We have been clean on all our starts so far today. Natasha Foreman in lane 6 appears to be off to a very good start. Foreman from Evanston Township has made up the 2 staggers to the right of her. And now we come around the turn and get ready to come down the straightaway, and it is Foreman in lane 6 along with Carrie Fink in lane 4. And Foreman has a big lead as she comes down the straightaway. Now here comes the tough part of the race. The hurdles just don't seem to be as easy to jump, and you saw Foreman get tied up there. The question is can Fink catch her? One more hurdle to go. Foreman will hold on and win. Fink will be second, and in lane 3, Dawn Harden of Crete-Monee will come in third. You received an indication from Foreman of just how difficult those final 2 hurdles can be. 42.42 is the unofficial time, but Foreman with a big victory for herself and also for the Evanston Wildcats.
Well, you see, as they come around this last curve, their legs start to get a little bit heavy, and instead of running through the hurdles, they begin to jump the hurdles. You don't necessarily want to leave the ground. You want to be as close to the ground and close to the hurdle as possible. But you'll see her legs get heavy, and on the next hurdle, she really jumps off the ground, and that's not a good way to run through the hurdle. See, she jumps. It becomes more of a jump, and I think it's just because her legs are tired, but she still holds on for the victory.
Surprising thing about that was the 3rd hurdle from the finish. She went over it so cleanly and so beautifully, and then all of a sudden started having problems, but it didn't affect the outcome of the race as Natasha Foreman picks up first place in the 300-meter low hurdles. When we come back after this timeout, we'll get a look at the milers and the 1,600-meter run as we continue at the girls' 1998 IHSA track meet. This is the Class A 1,600-meter run. Heidi Knapp of Eureka is trying to capture her second victory of the day. Stacy Sullivan of Porta High School will try and run her down. They ran together in the prelims yesterday, and Knapp finished in front of Sullivan by a tenth of a second. But the story in the race is Alana Christman, who had the top qualifying time from Rushville yesterday, 5:16.78. She has scratched from the race. She was not in the starting line. She was injured in an earlier event, and she's the defending state champion. She is not in the race. So this would seem to point to basically a repeat of yesterday's second preliminary, where Heidi Knapp and Stacy Sullivan are going to battle head-to-head throughout the race. And right now, Sullivan is out in front, Knapp running right behind her. And running third right now, Dawn Weber from Teutopolis. And we saw these two run earlier, and you get the impression that both of them like to have the lead, because when the one didn't have it, the other one battled to get it back. One lap down in the 1,600-meter run in Class A. Let's check in with Mark Pinsky.
The Class A high jump featured the defending champion Jamie Jones from Scioto Northwestern. And for the second straight year, Jones leaped 5.6 for another gold medal.
Was it tougher coming in this year, you think, than last year for you, because you had people were expecting you to do it again?
Oh yeah, by far. I mean, I was really nervous, and I just kept thinking, if I don't win, it's no big deal. I've had a heck of a run. I've had the title, and if I didn't win, then it was no big deal. But it's amazing. It's perfect. I graduate next weekend, and now I can say I've done about everything.
Marietta Leslie cleared 5.5. Leslie, a sophomore from Sparta, takes second. First-year junior Sue Weber takes third. Her best effort, 5 feet 4 inches. So is Jones, Leslie, and Weber. With more from the track, here's my good friend, Jim Blaney.
About a lap and a half to go now in the 1,600-meter run in Class A, and a little bit of a surprise. Katie LeBrack of Marion Central has taken the lead and is starting to run away a little bit from Heidi Knapp and Dawn Weber and Stacy Sullivan. But they're all staying within striking distance. LeBrack is first, followed by Knapp. Then it's Dawn Weber and then Stacy Sullivan. But the three trailing runners had better start to reel in LeBrack, or she could run away with this thing, because she looks awfully strong.
Knapp looks a little tight.
Yes, she does. And Stacy Sullivan is like she's starting to tighten up too. And LeBrack just keeps steadily moving along and increasing her lead.
She's running very strong right now.
And again, Alana Christman of Rushville, the best preliminary time in this event, but she was a scratch due to an injury from an earlier event today. Stacy Sullivan trying to change the outcome and starting to run out of time. She has moved into second place. You see the gap between Sullivan and LeBrack on the back stretch. Katie LeBrack running strong and running first, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to catch her as she comes around for the final 150 meters. Could be a good battle for second and third place, though.
Katie almost seems like she's got a second wind here, as she has really shifted it into overdrive as she comes down this back stretch.
And she is really moving, and she is going to finish first in the 1,600-meter run, but behind her, we have a great battle going on for second place. Stacy Sullivan in second at the moment. Dawn Weber moves past her. And here comes Heidi Knapp as well. So Weber finishes second. Knapp finishes third, and Stacy Sullivan comes in fourth. An outstanding 1,600-meter run. Katie LeBrack just came down that front stretch and just never gave up any ground. She took control of the race with about 600 meters to go, and it was basically over after that. Unofficial time, 5:07.51. Getting some well-deserved congratulations. It was a beautiful race. Here's where she took the lead, and she was laying back for a long, long time, was not even really a factor in the lead pack until we hit the halfway point of the race, and then she ran everybody down the back stretch and just steadily passed them.
And you can see she just gets a little burst of energy there as she goes around those 3 runners, and then she didn't look back. She just kept moving on.
Well, she made a wise decision. She got to the front before she hit the turn, so she turned on the jets just a little bit to get around everybody at that point, which was the exact right thing to do. And sometimes what happens to a distance runner is they put on a little burst to get around people, and they start running a little better pace, and all of a sudden the message goes to the brain, you know what? This feels pretty good. I don't feel like I'm expending too much energy, and I can keep up this pace for a while. You keep doing that, build up a lead, and then all of a sudden you're working with a 20-meter advantage and no one catches you the rest of the way. 1,600-meter run for Class AA. Top qualifying time belonging to Sarah Spalding of Hersey High School. Right behind her in her prelim heat was Rachel Endress from Wheaton North. And also in the neighborhood of the times near the top, Victoria Jackson, a sophomore from Lake Forest High School. And Lana McKnighter of Schaumburg, her qualifying time 5:07:08. Ready to go in the 1,600-meter run in Class AA.
On your mark.
We saw a fantastic race in the A race and a little problem with the gun, so we'll let everybody relax for a moment.
On your mark.
And in the mile, again, it's somewhat similar to the 800 in that you want to get good position coming off of the first curve when everybody starts to cut in, but you don't want to expend so much energy that you cost yourself later on in the race. And getting out there first in front of everybody, Sarah Spalding. You'll notice amongst the good milers that they always seem to know just how fast to go out, so they get there first, but that they're not sprinting so fast that all of a sudden they look up in the middle of the first straightaway and say, geez, how did I get this 10-meter lead?
Positioning is very important, but they do have a little more time in this event to make their move or have time to get themselves in position.
That's Tara Moody, second from St. Charles.
Spalding holding the lead. Tara Moody from St. Charles is running second, and running third is Brianna Wabick from Sandburg High School. She looked over the coach for just a second there, but did not turn her head. You saw the eyes move, but not the head of Sarah Spalding. That's what you want. You don't want to be looking around running the mile, even though we are only 1 lap into the race. One more update of the field events. Here's Mark Pinsky.
The AA high jump went to junior Kristen Pace. After clearing 5.8, Pace from Gurney Warren High School was in disbelief.
I'm ecstatic. I'm great.
What?
I'm ecstatic. I'm great right now. I don't even know what to say. I'm so shocked that I even won. But I'm great right now. You know, I didn't even think that I was gonna even win this year, and now I am so shocked that I even have this gold medal around my neck right now.
In previous years, Pace finished 8th, then 3rd. Now she's number 1. Sophomore LaShanta Canty from Algonquin Jacobs takes 2nd place, and Jamie Tyler of O'Fallon with a 5.7 jump takes 3rd. So again, it's Pace, Canty, and Tyler in the AA high jump. With more, let's go back to JB and Lisa.
500 meters to go in the 1,600-meter run. That's Tara Moody of St. Charles running first, Sarah Spalding of Hersey running second, and Libertyville's Jenny Arnold running third right now. Very tight group, but Moody is trying to put everybody away. And looking strong as she heads for the back stretch. Has opened up a bit of a lead on Spalding.
And we're coming in.
But Spalding putting up a fight here and not letting Moody run away. Moody holding the lead and holding the gap as well as she can, but I'll tell you what, Sarah Spalding is not giving up without a fight. And Jenny Arnold is going along for the ride. Well, it may come down to what kind of a sprint does Moody have versus the sprint that Spalding has, because Spalding is within striking distance and she can make a move right now.
Tara Moody just looks so smooth and so strong, though.
Exactly. And Tara Moody will win the state title in the 1,600-meter run. Sarah Spalding is second. And then at the tape, we had 2 runners together. One of them was Jenny Arnold of Libertyville. 4:59.036, the unofficial time. An outstanding run by Tara Moody. Made her move at the perfect time, took the lead, got herself a little room to work with, and then just basically didn't let anybody else catch up. Sarah Spalding put on a push on the back straightaway, tried to reel Moody in, but after making up a few meters, then started to fall back again.
Well, it looks like she tried to make her push on the curve, and we know that takes a lot more energy to do that. And Tara just fought her off and came in strong and finished the race very confident.
You have the sense as Tara Moody ran that last 300 meters that even though she never committed the cardinal sin of looking back, she knew exactly where Spalding was all the time. Knew exactly when to turn it up just a little bit as Spalding was beginning to make her move. Spalding really could never close a significant amount of distance enough to get any closer and really make a race of it.
She started to catch her right before the last curve, and then Tara just took off with the race.
Time now for the 200-meter dash in Class A. Another opportunity for Melissa McMullen from Arthur. She had the top preliminary time, 26:04. But this could be a very tight race. Brooke Turner, 26:10, and Kristen Owens, 26:2. And they are all running right in the middle of the track. Maybe the most star-studded of all the fields in any event in this Class A championship, and that's what the teams are battling for. Those are the trophies that will be awarded to the top teams when the day is done. Join Chet Kopic for an Around the Horn look at all your favorite local sports in the Game Room. It's unparalleled coverage of your home teams with features, analysis, special guests, and more. Get into the Game Room weeknights at 7 or before the game on Fox Sports Chicago. And in this 200-meter dash, a lot of the athletes we have seen competing in events previous in this meet. Erica Gesser from Fisher, Brooke Turner from Waverly, Melissa McMillan from Arthur, Kristen Owens from Tri-Valley. Should be a competitive race. Should be a quick one too. Melissa McMillan will be in the middle of the track in lane 5 in red and white. McMillan out of the blocks cleanly, and to her left, Brooke Turner off to a good start. McMillan leaning into the curve, and will come out of the curve trying to chase down Kristen Owens. Kristen Owens starting to pull away. It's Kristen Owens and Brooke Turner battling for the lead. Owens running first right now. Owens is going to win, Turner second, and McMillan ends up third. A very good day for Kristen Owens as she wins another one. I would say Miss Owens is a little surprised and was very pleased that things went as well as they did. Just a wonderful race. Earlier we saw her win just because it appeared that she wanted the race more than anybody else.
She got out of the blocks very quickly and made up that first stagger also very quickly and looks very strong as she's coming around the corner.
And this is where she turned it up just a little bit and held up before McMillan ran her down coming off of the curve. And then from there, it was a two-person race between Owens and Brooke Turner.
She's just really showing a lot of determination. You can just tell she is digging for that finish line.
Isn't it amazing how when you get to this level of competition with all the best athletes in the state that many times it seems to come down to the runner who just wants to get to that finish line worse than anybody else. And in the two races we have seen her win, that certainly appeared to be the case.
That's very true. She has just shown a lot of determination today, and maybe it helped that she did the little senior creed this morning at the opening ceremonies. That may have been a little motivation for her to have a great performance today.
And she's a very interesting story. She's a singer as well, involved in student government, just one of those students that you read about that is just involved in everything and excels at about just everything she tries. 200-meter dash for Class AA coming up. Would you like to tell us about the runner in lane 1?
In lane 1 is Bianca Rocket, again a personal favorite. Bianca, I have to put a little plug in for her. She just broke the state triple jump record earlier today, and I'm sure Mr. Pinsky is going to tell us about that. But she's also a great student, 4th in a class of about 300 kids. She'll be attending LSU this fall, and I can't say enough good things about Bianca. She's a great kid.
We have really 2 races going on here. One is we have some outstanding individuals who have had a great meet so far. Adia McKinnon running in lane 4. We saw Wanika Vance of Crete Moni earlier, but the team standings through 13 events were very, very tight. Morgan Park was first. They have Takoya Thomas. She is running in lane number 2 in this race. Evanston trailing Morgan Park in the team standings right now. They would like to move up a little closer if they can. Natasha Foreman, who we saw win the 300 hurdles a little while ago, she's running in lane 6. So all the schools that are involved in the fight for the title, team title involved, and some outstanding individuals as well. This is probably the strongest field for any event.
Wanika Vance is out very quickly out of the blocks.
Wanika Vance just flying as she comes around the turn. Wanika Vance is running in lane 5 right in the middle of the track. And this is incredible because she's got about a 2-meter lead coming off the curve. But in lane 3, Consuela Moore, who we saw earlier today having a good race. And here comes Adia McKinnon at the tape too.
Oh!
But it is going to be Wanika Vance holding off McKinnon at the finish line. And Takoya Thomas was in there in lane 2 for Morgan Park. But Consuela Moore from South Shore in lane 3 looked like she held off everybody. So it's interesting that the top 3 runners all just really going for individual glory, and all the people who are fighting for points for their schools were not represented in the top 3.
What a fabulous race. Again, we didn't get to see the start there, but Wanika Vance has probably the best start in the state. She just drives out of the block, stays very low. She gets herself a lead that she has a hard time hanging on here at the end, but she does a great job.
Now, Natasha Foreman of Evanston right now is running 4th as you watch them come down. The top 3, remember, their schools not involved in the fight for the points. But that's a big 4th place finish for Foreman.
And if we would have had about 5 more meters there, Adia McKinnon would have caught her.
Well, and we'll be seeing how the team race shapes out. But Wanika Vance, what a great individual performance. Unofficial time, 24:37. And a spectacular run by Wanika Vance as she claims the 200-meter title. When we come back after this timeout, it will be time for the 1,600-meter relay. And if you want to talk about it getting down to the nitty-gritty for the teams in this one, it will do so in the Class AA 1,600-meter especially when we come back after this timeout. Final running event of the Class A portion of the meet. This is the 1,600-meter relay. They do put the teams with the top qualifying times in the middle of the track, and in this race it's Timothy Christian, 4:10.05 in yesterday's preliminary heat.
Stop.
And the interesting thing about this race is how the meet officials have to line everybody up to take the baton after the first exchange, tugging people around and throwing them into position as their teammates come running down the track. They will stay in their lanes all the way around the first time. Then they will have the handoff, and then once the second runners get to the back stretch, they can cut into the inside of the track.
And the exchanges are important here. People may think that, oh, it's a one-lap race, that the exchanges aren't important, but you want to get the baton to the fresh legs as quickly as possible.
And again, it's not easy to find 4 people who can run this race well. This is a difficult relay to put together.
Well, the quarter is probably one of the toughest races on the track, so to be successful in the 1,600-meter relay, you have to have 4 good quarter-milers.
And 4 people who are willing to run it. First exchange appeared to go to Sherrard in running the second leg for Sherrard is Lindy Brierly. And now once they get to the straightaway on the backside, they can all make their way to the inside of the track.
And we go to lane 1. And Lena Winslow.
Lena Winslow was in lane 9. They had one of the higher qualifying times out of all the schools that qualified for the final, but right now they're running in first place.
Second place here, that's Timothy Christian. Third place, the Byron.
It's Courtney Kuehl running with the baton for Lena Winslow, and they have an ace in the hole. They have Tammy Skirch running the anchor leg, so if they can hang on to the lead and get the baton to Skirch, they might have a chance. Amanda Whitmer for Timothy Christian has just taken the lead. And Timothy Christian will start lap number 3 in first place. Lena Winslow running second. Buda Valley right now running in third place.
Buda Valley looks like they're getting ready to make a move here. She looks pretty strong as she's coming up on the second place run.
Running for Buda Valley is Holly Van Holten. And all of a sudden, we have a 6-team race going down the back stretch. Timothy Christian still running number 1, Lena Winslow running number 2. But past that, it's starting to bunch up a little bit. The anchor person for Timothy Christian will be a freshman, Laura Hamilton. The anchor person for Lena Winslow will be Tammy Skirch. And for Lewistown, that's Amanda Jones, a freshman, who will get the baton. Tammy Skirch gets the baton. She'll try and bring it home for Lena Winslow. And so far, she is holding on to the lead. Laura Hamilton of Timothy Christian running the anchor leg. She's running second. And look at the long strides of Laura Hamilton. Yeah, it's a good race going down the back stretch. Skirch just won't let her pass. All she has to do is beat her to the corner, try to make her pass in the corner, then it'll be a race down the straightaway.
Everyone on your feet. This is the end of Class A. Let's hear it for all the competitors.
Tammy Skirch holding the baton for Lena Winslow and holding on to first place. Laura Hamilton of Timothy Christian trying to catch up.
Well, these girls are really gutting it out. Look how much determination they have. They are just fighting to the finish line. What a great race.
Lena Winslow first. Timothy Christian will come in second. And finishing third, Byron. In the last 2 races, we have seen runners who have just gutted it out to the finish and done whatever necessary to make sure they come across first. And that was the case in that race. Tammy Skirch, a junior, an outstanding anchor leg to lead Lena Winslow to first place in the 1,600-meter relay. Here's the battle down the back stretch. Now I want you to watch Laura Hamilton in second place. She's going to take the lead in her mind right here. But Tammy Skirch just sees her coming up on the outside and won't let her by. Put on a burst of speed. They were running shoulder to shoulder there for about 4 strides before Hamilton did the wise thing and dropped back into second place before the turn came up. But then Skirch with a beautiful job of running the curve, got down the straightaway first, and brings her teammates across first for the victory. The AA 1,600-meter relay, and this is going to be very interesting, as they like to say, because we have right in the middle of the track 2 of the teams that are battling for the Class AA team title. The start of the 1,600-meter relay, and a lot riding on this as far as the team title is concerned. Evanston unofficially in a pretty comfortable spot as far as winning the Class AA title. But you have a relay here with a baton and potential for problems, and a Morgan Park victory and a disaster for Evanston might be enough to open the door for Morgan Park.
Evanston's looking real strong right now as they make up 1 stagger.
Qualifying times in this event were very, very close across the board. There were a total of 5 teams in between 3:55 and 3:57. So we are expecting a very tight finish. Running first for Evanston was Sean Kennedy. Coming down the track first, though, in the first lap is Thornton. Or check that, excuse me, Thornwood from South Holland. But it's going to be Evanston making the exchange first to the line. This is Karen Phillips now. And she is out to a flying start in this lap. Evanston's trying to run them down, and all of a sudden we have ourselves a race between Morgan Park
Thornton
and
is
Thornton.
challenging. Thornton's going to pass her as they come back on the backstretch. Oh no, she fights her off.
Again, Karen Phillips running the second leg for Evanston. And when she gets to the exchange area, she will hand off to Paris Stevens. Evanston number 1, and now Thornton has dropped back into 3rd place. And remember, Evanston just needs to avoid disaster here, and they will probably wrap up the Class AA title.
That was a nice handoff by Evanston just to increase their lead.
But the Wildcats are just running away from the field right now. 1 3/4 laps to go. Evanston still running number 1. Springfield Southeast running number 2. Thornton running number 3. And as she comes around that last turn, Paris Stevens looks like she might be binding up just a little bit. Thornwood has now moved into 2nd place. Evanston, Thornwood, Thornton as we make the exchange for the final lap of the race and the final leg of the race. And Morgan Park right now running 4th. So all the exchanges are over, and it would seem for Evanston that all they need to do is just polish off this race and they can take home a team title in this meet. But the matter at hand is we have a great race going on in the back stretch. Evanston, Thornwood, and Thornton as they head for the final 200 meters. Thornwood 1, Evanston 2, Thornton 3. And it's going to be a fight to the finish. Maybe a last gasp for Evanston. They not only will cross the wire first, they have likely won the Class AA title. An outstanding finish for the Wildcats in the final event of the meet.
This is Karen Phillips for Evanston, and she is really getting challenged by Thornwood and Thornton. She really holds them off, and you can tell she has the determination that she knows that if she wins this race, that her team is probably going to be the state champion. So as she comes around the corner, she just really reaches down and pulls everything out she's got. She knows this is their last race of this season, and she just brings it across the finish line.
This is where you hear about people reaching down for a little something. That's what Phillips did there, because she was behind and starting to lose ground quickly, but somehow found the wherewithal to get it back together and run that 75 meters to the finish hard and deliver her team to a relay title.
Just a great effort by Evanston.
When we come back after this timeout, we will have a look at the top finishers in the team standings in both Class A and AA when we come back after this timeout. The accountants have finished their work here at Eastern Illinois University. We now have the final tallies for the team standings for the 1998 IHSA Girls Track and Field Championships. We'll start by taking a look at how things finished up in Class A. Villa Grove, 28 points. They come home with the state runner-up trophy. They finished 12 points behind Downs Tri-Valley. They go home as state champions, but more correctly, Lisa, Kristen Owens, all 40 points on her own.
Jim, it was definitely the Kristen Owens show today as she came home with 4 gold medals, tallying all 40 points for Downs Tri-Valley.
Moving over to Class AA, Proviso West, and a bit of a surprise, having a great day, 36 points. They come home with the 3rd place trophy. In 2nd place, coming from the Chicago Public League, Morgan Park, 44 points. They were neck and neck with Evanston throughout most of the day, but in the last few events, Evanston pulled away. They win the Class AA title, 60 points.
As things shook out today, Evanston really ran away with the title. 60 points is a huge number of points in the state meet.
And they won the final relay as well. And speaking of relays, one of the earlier relays gives us our Pepsi moment from this year's Girls State Track and Field Championships, provided by a school that has long had a reputation for producing great distance runners. York High School in Elmhurst, their girls relay team in the 3,200 meters set a new state record today. And that is our Pepsi moment from this year's Track and Field Championships. Congratulations to the York ladies for setting a new mark that will go in the record books and likely to stand for a long, long time. At this time, we'd like to thank H. David Fry, Don Robinson, and all those at the Illinois High School Association for making this championship event possible. We'd also like to thank Dave Kidwell of Eastern Illinois University for his cooperation and coordination in this event. This game was produced and directed by Jim Corno Jr. Our graphics coordinator was Joe Corneo. Remote facilities provided by Trio Video. Our coordinating producer, Dave Turner. And our Vice President of Programming at Fox Sports Chicago is Don Graham. For Lisa Ferry and all of our Fox Sports Chicago crew, I'm Jim Blaney saying see you next year. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Chicago.